Hexblade, Hexblade, Hexblade. Everyone wants to see the Hexblade and nothing else, so let's do it. Now on honor mode, I just straight up think 12 Hexblade is the best. It gives you everything you need. Potential of hundreds and hundreds of damage in a single hit, amazing utility, and Life Drinker at level 12 directly syncs with the melee physical attack aspect of a Spellblade build like this. Considering you can get 22 charisma very easily, it's an easy +6 modifier for every attack. That's in addition to a third feat and the potential to get another higher level spell. On honor mode, Paladin's extra attack doesn't stack with Deep Impact's extra attack, so it's much less compelling to do a split between a Paladin and a Warlock type of build, and it also makes you not be able to get some juicy higher level spells. Keep in mind that the big aspect of the Hexblade's thematics is in fact that you can get several pretty good smites actually during leveling intrinsically already, so less reason to go Paladin as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about or what a Hexblade is, then check out my original Hexblade video. That video covers all the fundamentals and has all the meat and bones. It fully covers level 1 to 6 also, which is where most of the Hexblade specific elements happen, and it shows how to be OP right out of the gates of character creation with my Hexblade build. So let's get into leveling then, continuing with level 7. Now one bug that was mentioned and that is now fixed is that you could pick 2 spells at level 2, and now you can only pick 1. We took Armor of Agathis and Wrathful Smite in the original video, but since that's not possible anymore, we now grab it at level 6. And you can now also remove Hex and swap it out for Elemental Weapon at level 6. It is arguably better considering we get level 5 spell slots as a Warlock, where Elemental Weapon essentially does upcast and doubles its effect, which is pretty nice. Hex, however, stays the same as a level 1 spell, so it becomes worse and worse from an efficiency perspective the higher level you become on a monoclass like this, as you have to cast a higher level Warlock spell slot to cast a level 1 spell, and especially since it is a concentration spell. So we swap out Hex and get Elemental Weapon and Wrathful Smite now at level 6. At level 7, we grab Branding Smite as our spell. Level 7 means we're starting to be balls deep in Act 2, and Branding Smite is really good for denying invisibility. Think for example Yrgir or those annoying black shadows that can go invisible. Yes, Branding Smite denies that. And then for our Eldritch Invocation, Beguiling Intelligence is just best here from an actual effectiveness perspective. Proficiency in 2 very prominent Charisma checks is really good, but Charisma is pretty overpowered already, so if you don't want to become too OP in dialogues, you could also alternatively go for something like Beast Speech, since a lot of quests are tied to animals, or Fiendish Figure for an alternative temporary HP source in case Armor of Agathis is down. Level 8, we grab Counter Spell. It's always a reliable and excellent spell that can save many situations. The only reason to not take it here is if you have already covered it significantly elsewhere in your party, as we only have a few spell slots as a Hexblade. But otherwise, it's a really good pick. For our feat, we take Savage Attacker, no questions asked. Post level 5, we got now multiple attacks, and we will also use our bonus attacks for an attack, so we have multiple ways to proc Savage Attacker, and we got the ability improvement at level 4, so it's now an amazing time to actually pick it up, especially because we also now have 20 charisma at least as well. At level 9, we get something really good, Banishing Smite, usually only available to a high level bard through its magical secrets, but Hexblade actually allows for you to grab it right here at level 9. It's amazing. Eldritch Invocation, and we grab Minions of Chaos. It's amazing for this build as well, just a huge meat shield in the form of a summon, effectively doubling your HP, but the summons also come with a plethora of usefulness like CC, AoE attacks, and actual good melee damage, as well as range damage potential, and these guys in our setup can easily do up towards 100 damage in a single turn. So we do grab this Eldritch Invocation here. It's 100% going to be the most significant out of all these options. Oh look, it's a wild Crystal of Atlan. Thanks to them for sponsoring today's video. Crystal of Atlan is an upcoming Magic Punk MMORPG that will globally release on May 28th. In Crystal of Atlan, players dive into the world of Atlan, a magic world where technology and magic intertwine. Your goal as a free-spirited adventurer is to uncover the secrets of the ancient Atlan runes and confront powerful factions. It is a game fueled by exciting combat that exists out of all kinds of different combos that lead to different outcomes. It's a fluid system that gives you a lot of freedom in your skill expression and character movement, and one very unique aspect is also its major emphasis on utilizing the Z-axis in combat, giving you a touch of a refined aerial-based combat experience. You can choose out of a bunch of different classes, right unlocked at the start as well, with each over 20 skill combinations, so there's a lot to experiment with, and playing with all kinds of different builds gives the game a lot of depth. But of course, a game needs to be challenging to not get bored, and this game has that as well, while also providing you the option to go multiplayer with, for example, co-op dungeons and a guild fleet system. And I hear you can't wait any longer, right? So go ahead and pre-register for Crystal of Atlan now, and if you sign up, you get to claim exclusive rewards and unlock early access as well. Link is in the description. Level 10 then we grab Friends or Minor Illusion for our cantrips. These two options are the best, and yes, some people are scared for using Friends on Honor mode because it makes NPCs hate you sometimes and attack you, but for me this is a benefit and an additional excuse to kill more people under the facade of self-defense, and who doesn't want that, right? That being said, with beguiling intelligence at level 7, you probably don't really need the advantage on charisma checks. Your die rolls are going to be really good already, so alternatively, Minor Illusion is really great too here as well to set up for your AoE attacks. We grab Hold Monster for our spell then as well. Needs no explanation, it's just the other side of the coin when compared to Hold Person, which we picked up in the original video. Great spells. We will get into the combat strategy in a bit as well, where we go a bit more in depth into all these spells. But then additionally, Shield is also a great spell, as you know from my other video, but we can swap it out now due to it not feeling amazing to use a level 5 spell slot to cast what is essentially a level 1 spell, and at this point in time our AC and general power is going to be insane to the point that we don't really need Shield anymore. So we swap it out for Staggering Smite, allowing us to have all 4 smites now at level 10. And another argument to sticking to Hexblade as much as possible is its level 10 ability that you get, Armor of Hexes, which has the potential to completely nullify a cursed enemy's damage and attack on a reaction. So if it succeeds, it's a huge momentum swing in your favor, and a nice, excellent bonus to staying a monoclass. Level 11 then, the only good Mystic Arcanum here is going to be Create Undead in my opinion. The rest is too situational or uses concentration, and we don't have room for that really. Eye Bite is a pretty fun spell, but our concentration spells are already heavily contested at this point in time, so Create Undead is just a lot more value. It is a free summon that lasts all day and can do all kinds of cool shenanigans of its own, aside from just doing decent damage for a summon. And then for spells, we grab Cone of Cold, a great high level AoE spell, not linked to a concentration slot, that can destroy enemies like it's nothing, in a pretty nice and big radius as well, and if you make enemies wet, it is even more damage, so all around a very solid spell. Level 12 then, we grab Life Drinker for our Eldritch Invocation. It is truly the only option. All the other stuff on the list could have just been programmed to not appear realistically. As already mentioned, it gives us a nice bonus on all of our melee attacks, so it is a no-brainer. For your feat, we grab Alert then. A +5 to initiative is amazing, and we can't get surprised anymore, and now we also don't have to worry about initiative anymore on our gear. For our spells, we grab Dimension Door here to round off our spell selection. It's an amazing buffed Misty Step essentially that you can utilize as a Trojan Horse-esque type of ability to set you and a fellow melee nuker right next to what you absolutely want to destroy, and it also synergizes well with our Boots Misty Step that we can then use for less intensive situations where we only want to TP ourselves to, for example, kill something like this. Now before we go into all the combat strategy, let's go over gear. For our helmet slot, we grab the Birthright hat as a very nice way to get an easy 22 charisma, and charisma skills literally everything in our build, so it's an amazing option. Cloak of Protection then for our cloak slot, it's extra AC and the saving throw bonus is really good, just amazing for sustain purposes. For our chest armor, we upgrade our part 1 pick to get the Helldusk armor, just overall a lot of great sustain and utility coming from this piece, and we can automatically wear it, and it comes with a really nice and high AC, so it fits our frontliner properties very well. Helldusk gloves then for the extra damage, and the spell attack rolls and spell save DC bonus is a really nice bonus too in making our spells hit or CC actually apply. We then keep our boots from part 1, like I said, these are too good for this world. Weapons, we keep using Shadow Blade, but we now accompany it with Belm, and Belm is a great Act 3 pickup that essentially gives us a full-on melee attack for our bonus action. It's basically like just hitting once more, getting the full damage of our main hand's weapon attack. Here, this type of damage on a bonus action, yes please. That shot for our bow then, making crits more prevalent, just a nice utilization of the bow slot. Ring of Arcane Synergy for our first ring. Arcane Synergy means a +6 modifier to our attacks at 22 charisma, and it procs right away from our very first hit and practically stays on for the entire combat cycle, as we will keep hitting enemies realistically. Caustic Band then for the other ring slot for the nice extra acid damage, and Strange Conduit Ring is a good shot too, especially when considering the Resonance Tone, but only if you make sure that you're always concentrating and keeping it up. For Amulet then, we keep the Brood Mother's Revenge from part 1. It's excellent with this build and synergizes very well with our Scepters, which heal us very consistently, and just keep proccing our Amulet here for us pretty much passively infinitely, making it an excellent choice. Make sure to also then pick up the Resonance Stone in Act 2. It's essentially just doubling all your psychic damage for free with Shadow Blade, and that also reflects onto our Belm's bonus action. So that's 3 melee attacks every turn, getting double the damage in the most baseline version. With that then, we have our gear covered. Our Hexblade is a spell blade, so it's a mix between a frontline miner and a caster essentially. But most of your damage is going to come from your booming blades using your Shadow Blade. These attacks on their own will do hundreds of damage, one-shot most enemies in the game, and then we have an extra attack and the Bell bonus action that is just repeating what we already did, so we're one-shotting enemies back to back. If you count all damage from a full turn, you can easily do up to 400-500 damage, and even more if you consider haste and stuff like that. And this is the product of Resonance Stone, our Shadow Blade having synergy with the automatic upcasted Warlock slots, and Booming Blade getting more and more damage the higher level you become. So these attacks are going to be your bread and butter. However, you also still have your caster bread and butter attack with Eldritch Blast. You can nicely clean up enemies with these while being relatively in a very safe spot because their range is really nice, or just do great damage with them on their own from, again, a pretty significant range. So it opens up a lot of extra options that you have now. And that's where your Spellblade benefits really start to kick in. You essentially have an answer for everything. Like we went over in the original video, you also get Hunger of Hater at level 5, and this is one of the best concentration spells in the game that you definitely want to utilize for your concentration slot when outnumbered or fighting big groups of enemies. It's just a lot of value from damage at the start guaranteed and potentially at the end of every turn to blinding and impairing movement to essentially just a mix of a lot of annoying things for our enemies that will make their lives very hard. And it has a pretty big radius as well. Then you either just melee attack everything that comes out of the Hunger of Hater and one tap them like that, or if you need a more strategic way of playing, you can also use your Eldritch Blast to keep pushing them back inside the Hunger of Hater while dishing out nice damage thanks to our Repelling Blast Eldritch Invocation, but also our Agonizing Blast Eldritch Invocation. So a lot of options here. Hunger of Hater is great for concentrating, however we now also have both Hold Person and Hold Monster, and that means a very useful CC in addition to giving you guaranteed crits. It's amazing. With Hold Person being automatically upcasted to target 4 different people at these Warlock monoclass levels, meaning you can absolutely annihilate the entire battlefield with it if you used on 4 targets successfully. So you definitely want to utilize those as well when there are not enough enemies on the battlefield to really warrant the usage of Hunger of Hater. And outside of that, we also now have our Elemental Weapon, which is nice to enhance our weapon attack damage as well, preemptively, when we just need a reliable source of extra damage. We also have our 4 Smites then, and now these will be a bit more situational than the rest here, but they are still really good. Staggering and Wrathful Smite both deal psychic damage, so both get direct benefits from our Resonance Stone, meaning absolutely insane damage. However, they also provide you some ingrained CC, stagger and frightening respectively, which depending on what you're fighting can be very useful. If you want to lock an enemy in one place while dishing out great damage, Wrathful Smite is your friend, while Staggering Smite can be very nice with enemies that spam reactions every turn, which is quite prevalent on Honor Mode with some of the legendary actions. Branding Smite, as earlier described, is also a nice option for denying invisibility, and it gives us a source of radiant damage. And Banishing Smite is then probably the best smite here, considering it gives you the tool to banish big boy targets if necessary to give more breathing room in fights. So that's just completely denying an enemy's existence in combat. But it's also a source of pretty substantial force damage, and as you might know, not a lot is actually resistant against force damage, so you can get it always off, and it's nice versus those targets that are otherwise immune to your Shadow Blade's psychic damage. And outside of that, Cone of Cold for great AoE damage like mentioned before, and with our Bell bonus action we can actually use our main action for Cone of Cold for example, and then use our bonus action for a main hit essentially with our Bell, dealing great damage like that. And we start off the day by first of all always making your Shadow Blade, but then also get your Armor of Agathis going, which you will automatically upcast to level 5, giving you 25 temporary HP, but also that nice retaliation damage when something touches you. It is 25 damage inflicted on their turn and has the potential to become a whopping 50 damage if they're wet. And then you can use your 3rd spell slot for a Conjure Elemental, which stays with you for the entire day, and you can short rest after right away to again have your 3 spell slots back while having perfectly utilized your 3 previous spell slots. With Conjure Elemental you have a plethora of tools available like mentioned before, and you can play around your enemy's elemental weaknesses with it. Just examine them and see what they're weak against, and then with your Create Undead Mystic Arcanum that we took at level 11, we can use that as well to get another pretty beefy mummy going, and this mummy can also act as another source of a meat shield that tanks hits for you or distracts enemies, in addition to your Conjure Elemental, and like I said before, can do some nice damage in CC on its own and really can pack a punch. You will also keep making your Accursed Spectres every time you kill a cursed target, like I went over pretty extensively in the original video, and thus you're getting a whole army when considering your Conjure Elemental, your Create Undead Summon, and your Accursed Spectres, giving you insane pressure on the battlefield, damage, and sustain by them acting essentially like bodyguards for you. So your presence on the battlefield as a Hexblade will be known. So all around, I really like my build here for a Hexblade that comes with disgusting damage, insane crowd controlling utility, amazing defenses, summons. Like the video, subscribe, check my Patreon for written guides of all my builds, including this one, or if you just want to support the channel. Thank you for watching.